Mercedes' dreams of winning took a detour at the Austrian GP as they encountered a race filled with challenges. From the height of a double podium in Spain to Hamilton's podium triumph in Montreal, the expectations were sky high. However, the Austrian GP left fans puzzled, questioning what went wrong for the Silver Arrows. Amidst Hamilton's frustrated radio complaints and Toto's intervention, there is a glimmer of hope on the horizon. Brace yourselves for the upcoming Silverstone race, where Mercedes is set to unleash colossal upgrades. It's the moment they've been waiting for, with Toto believing it's their best shot at victory this year. After facing challenges for the past year and a half, Mercedes had recently been feeling more positive about their performance. The upgraded W14 had shown promising results, raising expectations for a competitive show at the Austrian Grand Prix. However, the weekend turned out to be another disappointment for the team. Lewis Hamilton finished 8th, while George Russell came in 7th, losing ground to their rivals Aston Martin and Ferrari. Toto Wolff's radio message to Hamilton, acknowledging their car's shortcomings, was surprising. Although they hadn't performed poorly before Sunday, their race ended up being quite disastrous. The issue for Mercedes primarily stemmed from the rear end of the car. The Red Bull Ring in Austria, while more traditional than tracks like Montreal and Monaco, still possesses its unique characteristics. The rear of the car plays a crucial role, and this happens to be one of Mercedes' weaknesses this season. Hamilton received a warning from his team about exceeding track limits, to which he responded with a revealing statement. He mentioned, "I can't keep it on the track, the car won't turn." His repeated struggles with the track limits led to a 10-second penalty time, dropping him from 7th to 8th position. It was not surprising that the car faced difficulties in the final 2 corners, given the setup chosen for Hamilton's car. The key areas to gain time in Austria are the exits of tight turns 1 and 3, where the rear of the car becomes vital. Mercedes had clearly focused on this aspect while configuring their setup. Mercedes made significant changes to their W14 car during the Monaco Grand Prix, abandoning the distinctive zero-pod concept. This modification had a positive impact on their performance, leading to improved results in the subsequent Spanish and Canadian Grand Prix races. Mercedes is aiming to regain their momentum at Silverstone. The upcoming British Grand Prix will see the introduction of the next phase of upgrades for the W14 car, which has already generated anticipation from Lewis Hamilton prior to the Austrian Grand Prix. While Toto Wolff cautioned against becoming overly confident, the team recognizes the chance to quickly recover from their setback in Austria. They are determined to prove that the disappointing performance was just a temporary setback and that they can return to their previous form. Despite scoring a few points, Mercedes lacked the pace for a better outcome. The competition behind Red Bull is highly competitive and varies from track to track, with some teams benefiting from upgrades. Unfortunately, Mercedes was on the wrong side of this equation in Spielberg. However, the team has diligently analyzed their performance and embraced the lessons learned. They aim to regain the momentum they had built in previous races. The upcoming upgrades and experiments at Silverstone provide reasons for optimism. Nonetheless, the team remains grounded and focused on the task at hand, striving to extract maximum performance from the car and assess their position this weekend. The British Grand Prix holds significant importance for Mercedes, as it is a highlight of the season. The unique atmosphere and incredible fan support at Silverstone make it a special race. Additionally, being their local race with a track situated near their factories in Brackley and Brixworth adds to the significance. The fast and flowing layout of the circuit promises exciting racing, and the team hopes to deliver a strong performance and entertain the spectators. The upgrade is believed to be an updated front wing aimed at enhancing aero balance, particularly in low-speed corners. Also, there are talks about bringing a new floor. During the Monaco Grand Prix weekend, Red Bull's floor was exposed when Sergio Perez crashed his car at Turn 1 during Q1. The stranded RB19 had to be lifted into the air by a crane to remove it from the track. This incident provided Mercedes with an opportunity to gather valuable information by examining the exposed floor of their rival's car. This was not the only time a team's car had its floor exposed during the weekend. Lewis Hamilton's crash at the end of FP3 at Mirabeau also allowed onlookers to catch a glimpse of the updated floor in the Mercedes W14 car. Given Red Bull's strong performance this season and the secretive nature of the car's underbody, the Mercedes team is keen to analyze the images that emerged from Monaco. James Allison, Mercedes' technical director, mentioned that their aerodynamicists will carefully study the high-resolution images obtained from photographers strategically positioned around the track. These images provide valuable insights that can contribute to Mercedes' ongoing test program. While it may attract attention and curiosity, accessing such information from rival teams can be beneficial for their analysis and development processes. Despite Hamilton's earlier incident that exposed Mercedes' new flaw during the weekend, Trackside engineering director Andrew Shovlin believes that Red Bull would be more bothered by the exposure than Mercedes. He added, "I think they would be more annoyed about their car being lifted into the air than we would about ours." However, Red Bull Motorsport advisor Helmut Marko argues that simply having images of Red Bull's flaw won't be enough for the opposition to replicate its performance without understanding how it fits into the overall design of the car. Marko stated, "The flaw is important, but copying it without comprehending the other components and the underlying concept is not easy." He further emphasized that while the Mercedes car was also airborne for a longer duration, the focus and interest from others were primarily on Red Bull's flaw. Marko clarified, "It's just the flaw. It has to work in conjunction with the front wing and the rear of the car. It's a complex combination of factors, and that complexity goes beyond just the flaw." While Max Verstappen has been dominant this season and appears to be on his way to a third world title, Mercedes' Toto doesn't believe he is unbeatable. He maintains his belief that Mercedes can eventually challenge Red Bull in pure pace. Giving up is not an option. They must continue working and make the most of challenging days. Wolff points out that there have been races where they performed well, such as finishing with a 10-second gap to Verstappen in Montreal, which is more encouraging than their recent performance in Austria. Wolff remains calm about Mercedes slipping back in Austria, considering it a temporary setback. He observes that the competition behind Red Bull, including their own team Aston Martin, Ferrari and Lando Norris, has fluctuated from race to race. There doesn't seem to be a consistent pattern yet. Wolff mentions that Ferrari and McLaren had upgrades in Austria, which could explain the change in performance. However, Mercedes is also bringing upgrades to Silverstone. Despite Mercedes' optimism about pursuing victories, Red Bull still possesses the potential to win every race this season. Team boss Christian Horner acknowledges that a single stroke of bad luck can derail their flawless streak. He recalls an incident in last year's British Grand Prix where Max Verstappen's race was affected by debris damaging the floor. Horner emphasizes the fine margins between victory and failure, and the team must maintain a high level of performance while being aware of external factors like weather or unforeseen circumstances. Wolff expressed that the progress they're making is substantial, with bigger strides being taken. He emphasized that the British Grand Prix holds the best opportunity for Mercedes to secure a victory. When asked about the race where Mercedes is most likely to win, Wolff straightforwardly responded, "Silverstone." But all of these upgrades raise some eyebrows about the cost cap and whether Mercedes will stay under it. The first big major upgrade package was brought in Monaco, essentially transforming the initial car. Now they're preparing for another significant update, and Toto Wolff has confirmed yet another one for the Belgian GP. These updates go beyond typical improvements and involve a complete overhaul of the car. Given their frequency, some concerns have been raised regarding the cost cap regulations. In contrast, Red Bull Racing is currently facing penalties for breaching the cost cap. They were found guilty of exceeding the spending limit in 2021 and were fined $7 million. Additionally, they face a 10% reduction in aerodynamic testing for a year starting from October 2022. However, considering the developments of this season, these penalties seem to have little impact. If Mercedes were given a similar opportunity to overhaul their car and the consequences were just a $7 million fine and reduced testing, they would likely accept it willingly. What are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.